Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Today I have a very special guest. I know this woman for over 20 years. She opened the first vegan bakery ever in the entire planet. I don't know. I call her last name the name of her company, but her name's Danielle Konya. And welcome to the podcast, Danielle Vegan Treats.
I know
say it right?
Of course you did.
It's so weird when you know people from just there's not a nickname, but I'm trying to think of something I can make that.
You call me DVT.
Yeah, DVT, or this friends Roger AF or Freddie Mabel or Skiba. His real name Matt Skiba. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. So I call you Vegan Treats last name. So welcome to the podcast, and
thanks for having me.
Excited to have you here. I have a lot of questions for you, and usually on my podcast, I take it back to the beginning so people can hear your story. Mm-hmm. So first and foremost, where were you born?
I was born in Pennsylvania, rural Pennsylvania.
Bethlehem?
About a half an hour away. I grew up at the foot of a mountain in the middle of nowhere.
Awesome. And what was that like?
It was awesome. I loved it up there. It was not unusual for my mom to bake pies and cool them in the window. I was always outside. I was very close to nature. I loved looking for anything I could find living, earthworms, salamanders. I grew up in the country.
So at a very young age, you was in love with animals?
Completely.
Brothers and sisters?
2 brothers.
Older?
Yep.
Were they the same way?
Not exactly. I mean, they liked being outside, but
yeah,
they didn't have that same curiosity.
Yeah. So what were you like in school?
Straight A student, artistic.
Damn. Really?
Yeah.
So straight A's, honor roll your whole time in school?
Pretty much, yeah.
There was no distractions? Was there you weren't affected by peer pressure and stuff like that growing up?
No. I mean, but social media wasn't a thing, so.
Exactly. So, okay, so you're in school, you love animals, you're an art person. Mm-hmm. What was your first music you got into?
I thought you were going to ask me something completely different, but that's funny. The first music I got into, oh man, my first concert I've ever seen in my life was the Ramones, surprisingly.
Wow.
My older brothers listened to a lot of music that I liked, and my older brother begged my mom to let her take me, and so he did. So that was definitely something I loved when I was very young. I remember sitting on his shoulders watching the Ramones.
So that was your first experience for a live show was Ramones?
It was.
Wow. What year was that?
Might be 1988.
Holy shit. It was where was that? In Pennsylvania somewhere?
It was at Airport Music Hall.
Oh my God. It was a crazy place.
Yeah. I guess I would have been 14.
Holy shit.
I must have been younger than 14 because I remember being on my brother's shoulders.
Because I'm way older than you and I was 18 in 1988.
Yeah, I don't know. The math. Don't make me do math.
So then that's your first live experience. So were you listening to top 40 or other types of music before you saw the Ramones?
Before I saw the Ramones, I listened to anything my older brothers liked.
Got you.
I remember liking Twisted Sister. I remember just anything. I mean, I remember my older brother listening to Rat. Any bands they liked was what I liked because I was young.
Yeah.
And I also remember in that time period, my first introduction to animal rights stuff, without knowing it, because my parents used to take me to this pig roast every summer with these friends of theirs. And I remember, they would grease up a pig, chase it around the yard, and they'd put it on a spit, and there was a pig roast. And I remember asking, my mom said, "Do you want some?" And she's like, "You like pork?" And I was like, "I would never eat a real pig." And she was like, "But you like pork?" And I said, "Yeah, if you buy it from the grocery store."
Wow.
So while I couldn't fully connect, I understood it a little bit at that age.
So is that when you became vegetarian, that young?
No, because I was way too young to kind of make that light bulb connection.
Yeah.
It wasn't until many years later.
So let's get back to high school. So you had good grades.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of kid were you besides? Did you play sports and stuff or no?
I did ballet for 13 years.
That's awesome.
I was just always a very artsy person though.
Yeah. So did you experience with partying at a young age? Because I know you're straight edge, but before we get to that, were you exposed to a lot of stuff like that in that small town growing up or no?
I had 2 brothers, so they always had parties and stuff like that, and they were way more wild than me. I've never drank or smoked a day in my life. I feel like
that's amazing.
Having them around made me not want to do it at all.
So you pretty much tried nothing your whole life?
Never.
Like me?
I've never.
Holy shit, I have a woman version of me.
That's right.
No wonder why I love you. That's fucking awesome. I didn't even know that. That's amazing. So same thing with me. I had 2 older brothers, and they were partying in the house, and they would take me to my first punk shows. They exposed me to this amazing music. And then through that, I found bands with other messages about straight edge, and that's what got me to realize that I'm cool not doing stuff. So that's similar backgrounds. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I can remember going to like my first hardcore shows, and I didn't know what straight edge was at that point. And I had this someone invite me, and it was like this guy Scott. He was in some band, Jessica, I think it was at the time. Okay. And he invited me to a hardcore show, and I was like, "Oh, straight edge! I found my people."
there was there was a title for what you already were.
Exactly.
I think it's a lot of people's stories. I'm realizing on this podcast, a lot of people didn't try anything, and then they were into the type of music we're into, or skateboarding, and then they found like the minor threats. Like, oh my God, these guys sound amazing, and they're singing about not doing stuff. And like, oh shit, that's me.
Right, like those little summer trips, like I said, where there were those pig roasts. Like I never understood it because all the kids my age like couldn't wait till the adults weren't paying attention, and they all smoke pot and drink, and I always felt like this weird outcast, you know?
Yeah.
Like the weird girl sitting in the corner with like a journal, you know? Like.
All right, so you grew up in a small town.
Mm-hmm. Small town. There was only a post office. There weren't even street lights.
Was the mail delivered by horseback? I'm just kidding. Amish people out there
Not
too?
Not far away.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in Pennsylvania,
yeah.
Like going to shows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, so super small town, probably small-minded people.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Well, so after you saw the Ramones live, you're probably blown away. Mm-hmm. And then from that, you probably started like looking into other punk bands, correct? After that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've always loved music. I still love music. Pretty much there isn't a genre I haven't crossed into. I love a lot.
Country?
I love old country.
Okay.
I'm sure you could find some new stuff I like too, but
death metal.
I mean, I really like seeing like I saw Sleep and Carcass at the Limelight when I was really young. Sick. I had like hot pink pom poms in my hair, and I looked really out of place, but it was fun.
Oh my God. So you obviously make it through high school, you get straight A's. Mm-hmm. You're straight edge by default, and then you find these bands that are straight. Oh my God, that's me. And then you graduate, and so what is your goals? Like, what did you go to college for after that?
I just wanted to be in New York City. I wanted the exact opposite of what I had.
Okay.
So I moved to New York City and went to art school.
So you moved there when you were like 17 or 18?
Yep, directly after high school.
What school was that in New York? Manhattan?
School of Visual Arts.
Oh yeah, shit, wow.
Mm-hmm. I didn't graduate.
You didn't?
No, vegan treats happened.
Okay, let's rewind back to then. Oh shit, I know that happened in high school. Holy shit.
No, it wasn't high school. It was shortly after, because I didn't graduate from college, and I ended up moving back to Pennsylvania. And I was unsure of what I wanted to do with my life at that point, but you know.
Okay, so let's rewind now. So
okay,
after Ramones, you find this other music, straight edge, and you realize that's you. So what was like your first? Was it a band? Was it a song? Was it PETA videos? Like, what was it that made you become vegetarian then vegan? Was it something from the scene?
I mean, the scene had an influence because I was seeing things, you know, like vegan food options and stuff like that at shows. But what really did it for me was a lobster.
Okay.
I was at an open kitchen restaurant with my family, and a chef had thrown like a lobster into a pot of boiling water, and I was bored because I was out with family, and I was just fixating into the kitchen, and the lobster made a really loud sound and was kind of scratching to get out of the pot, and it was kind of flashing back to the pig. You know, it was that light bulb moment that animals suffer for our palate, you know?
Yeah.
And so I had ordered like some type of chicken or something, and they sat it down in front of me, and it was that moment that I decided not to eat animals, and I didn't want to contribute to the suffering of any living thing ever again.
And how old were you then?
Like 17.
Okay.
18, something like that.
Was your family heavy meat eaters? Were they always meat every meal and stuff?
I wouldn't say it was like necessarily meat every meal. Like my mom was an amazing cook, but it wouldn't be unusual that she'd make like pork chops or spaghetti and meatballs, and you know. But yeah, like they said that was like the moment for me, and like it kind of made sense because if you look back in like old pictures, you'll find like every native Pennsylvania animal and me in a photograph together. And if you, like, I, you know, cat, dog, raccoons, there was like a mother raccoon that got killed and we raised them. I mean, if you put an earthworm in my presence for 5 minutes, I'm attached to it. So
that's amazing. So what did your parents think at that moment? Like when you made that decision, were they supportive of it?
My mom, for sure. She's always been super supportive of me. She 100% like backed it. She immediately started to try to, you know,
change the cooking stuff.
So that happened later. So when I went vegan, like I went on a whim, right? I was like, I'm going vegan at this moment.
Damn.
So
back when it was hard, and that was
oh my God. Yeah. So
strange.
reality set in, like 24 hours passed, and like my mom, I like loved dessert. It wasn't like I had a sweet tooth. It was like dessert is the best part of the meal. Dessert before dinner type thing. Like I loved it.
Yeah.
So actually the first thing I ever even cooked being vegan was chocolate cake.
Okay. That was your first thing. Did you ever cook anything before that?
Never.
So you weren't even a cook.
No.
But you did out of like desperation. I want a dessert that's vegan. I want some desserts. Yeah.
It's funny because it's like the number one interview question people ask me is, how do you make a cake without eggs? And I'm like, I don't know. How do you make a cake with eggs? I've never done it. Like I wouldn't know. And I feel like having...
Is that you?
I don't think so. No.
Oh my God, that's me. That's so bad. It's on the podcast. Oh my God, I'm gonna shut my phone off right now. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
So I got a new laptop, everybody, after 15 years because I'm trying to have a professional podcast here, and it takes hours to upload one fucking episode to my friend to edit. So I got my first computer, and somehow my computer's set up to my phone. So when that shit rings, it rings on the computer. So no more. I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
So go back. What were we saying?
I was going to say the first thing I've ever cooked being vegan was chocolate cake. And then I was about to say what's really funny is people always ask me, like the number one interview question is like, well, how do you make a cake without eggs?
Yeah.
And I always think that's so funny because I could not tell you how to make a cake with eggs.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that lends itself to like, I don't know, having had no experience with baking and trying to solve the science of vegan baking, I think worked out perfectly. Because if I had that knowledge, it might have messed up my determination to figure it out.
Winged it.
I winged it. I called my mom into the kitchen and said, what do eggs do? And when you bake with them, and she was like, what? She's
Nobody
like,
talks about that. It's just
no.
normal to put it in there.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what do people listening? What does an egg do to a dessert why it has to be in there?
Yeah, it binds and lifts, but then it's like
Okay.
you got to replace the things that bind or the things that lift, or it's two separate ingredients. So anyway, I basically just didn't stop until I figured it out, and I was baking a lot, and my friends would come over and say like, "Oh, did you make any vegan treats?" And yeah, that's kind of how it happened. And
wow,
was
there egg replacer back then?
If there was, I wasn't using it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was a thing later, but
yeah, I don't know.
So what did you use to simulate an egg? I guess like what did you figure? Do you remember exactly what you figured out?
Oh my God, I don't even remember at that particular moment. But I was trying like everything my mom had available in the kitchen, and I remember like maybe 5 into it, it looked really good, and she came out to the kitchen, and they popped. It like deflated and then like exploded.
Oh shit.
She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. I'm just trying to make vegan cake. And she's just like, oh my God. Walked away. It was funny. But
wow.
But then I follow the philosophy if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. So I of course wouldn't stop until I figured it out. Yeah. And then, I started making desserts, and I had someone in my life at that time who was working in Philly on the weekends, and I would frequent the only spot that had a vegan option, which is no longer there. The restaurant's closed now, but
yeah, I remember that spot. Yeah.
And I said, why don't you make vegan dessert or have it on your menu? And he said, there's no such thing. And
what year was this? 90s?
That was 99.
Isn't that fucking crazy how shit's changed since then?
1999, yeah.
That's 10 years ago.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's 20 years
20
ago.
years ago.
Sorry, it's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's 20 years ago. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
though.
this will be year 20 that I've been in business.
Oh my God, dude. It just seems like it's not so far, but him 20 years. 99, that's fucking crazy. That back then nobody was even doing any of that shit.
I know. I mean, you could find, if you looked really hard, like a carob chip.
Carob chip. I hated
something.
Carob chips, but I ate them because I had to.
Exactly. So I was making, at this point, all these like cakes and stuff, and I was about to give him like the recipes. Here's how you should do it.
Damn.
You should make them. And he's like, why don't you make some for me? And I was like, well, I don't even like baking. Like, I don't want to make him cake.
So as you're making these cakes, you're living back at home. Mm-hmm. You graduated already, correct?
I was
not doing this in high school.
No. This was 99. At this point, no, I was living with the guy I was seeing at that point.
Okay, gotcha.
I ended up that's why I left New York. I moved back to Pennsylvania
for a dude.
Mm-hmm.
Left college for a dude.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, I didn't really leave college for a dude. I started working for a design company at the time, and I started doing the thing that all the kids were in school trying to do. Okay. And I was like, this is what the job will be like. I don't even know if I want to do this.
Got you.
And then I traveled a little bit, and then I went back to Pennsylvania.
Okay. But your thing was all art, so...
Yeah.
what you ended up creating was this amazing company and amazing desserts through your art and your vision and all that stuff that you learned.
Well, right. So when I started making vegan cakes, and then this place down in Philadelphia wanted to carry my stuff, my immediate reaction was, well, it needs to look as good as it tastes, because aesthetics matter.
Exactly.
And like, people don't think vegan dessert is going to taste good, and I need to change their mind. And the only way to change their mind is to have it look amazing and taste amazing.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other.
I agree.
So I brought him 3 cakes. Well, actually, this is what happened. I brought him a half of a cake that I baked at home just to prove him wrong. Vegan desserts exist because here it is.
Yeah.
He called me up and said, I gave away some to some customers. They loved it. Will you bake me 3 cakes for Friday? I was young. I just moved back to Pennsylvania, whatever. So I made him these 3 cakes. He called me an hour later and said they're gone. We sold them all.
Damn.
People want more. And then asked me if he could order 11 cakes for the following week. And I thought, what? 11 cakes?
Crazy.
How in the world am I going to make 11 cakes?
Yeah.
So I did what any sane person would do. I called my mom. Can you come help me? I have to bake 11 cakes,
Was she like dumbfounded, like what the hell's happening? Did she realize like...
You know what? She's just super awesome and super supportive. So she was just like, I'll be right over, So she came over and we took like the racks out of the oven. We were staggering cake pans. And, I had never used a pastry bag or a spatula, but I learned quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I figured it out. And I had that art background helped a lot. So I knew that they looked really pretty. I mean, I'd seen cakes before. The peanut butter bomb, the origin of the most popular cake we make, came from the fact that I just wanted more icing than cake.
Okay.
So that peanut butter mousse, I was like, well, how can I scoop it on top and whatever?
Yeah. I love peanut butter bombs. So, shout out to Hoy from Abel. That's his favorite dessert he ever made. And we used to bring him on tour. And he's like, yo, peanut butter bomb. We used to text each other. Peanut butter bomb. Like, that was one of the first things I tried too at Michael's and Zoe's. We'll get to it later in New York. But so you're making the cakes.
Yeah.
Your mom's coming to help you. Right.
So I start making them the cakes. And the next thing you know, like, I'm renting. Well, here's what happened. I'm making cakes. The guy I'm seeing at the time, like, cut a piece of plywood to put over his foosball table. That was my cake decorating station.
Sick.
I immediately start looking for a place to rent because other restaurants are calling. Now people want it.
Yeah.
People are catching wind of it. Like a month and a half into this, the New York Times called trying to interview me, and I was like so
that's like
panicked.
Before the internet too. Like, how they find out about you? Just the buzz was spreading.
The buzz was spreading, and then I wanted to start bringing cakes to New York. So I did, and the next thing you know, I was like moving into this other place down the street. I quickly outgrew that. I don't know. And here I am. It's 2019. I have 53 employees. We operate 24 hours a day. We have over 100 wholesale accounts.
That's fucking crazy.
Ship all over the world.
All because you went vegan and you're like, I need dessert. Dessert's the best part of the meal. There's no vegan desserts. And I'm trying to think back then, just in my mind now, what vegan desserts I even had. I remember there was this one thing. It was called the No Cookie.
Mm-hmm.
It was an anti-sign to a cookie. I don't know if you remember those. It was chocolate chip and oatmeal. You could buy them at a health food store. But that's the only thing I can remember that was vegan. But like, there was nothing like you were making that you could go like get at restaurants and stuff like that, and little shops. And so yeah, you're the first vegan bakery in the whole that we know the whole planet.
Yeah, I think the greatest challenge back then was just convincing people it was actually vegan.
And and try it. It's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I can remember like all the phone calls, like it can't be vegan. I'm like, but it is, like it was funny. I think we still get that sometimes though.
I'm sure.
But now there's so many, like I find vegan stuff everywhere I go now. It's so awesome. It's like a dream world.
No, so back then it was just you. So
yeah, think about this. Okay. For those of the people who are longtime vegans or new vegans, things like soy milk, forget all these other things. Because they didn't even happen yet. Soy milk didn't even exist, let alone oat milk, almond milk, cashew milk. Almond milk did, almond breeze.
Yeah.
But it was just unheard of. Like I remember having to get like Eden soy from the local health food store to practice baking.
It tasted so bad compared to everything we had. I remember Eden soy, man.
Yeah, it's crazy like how much things have evolved,
I wonder if Eden soy is still even around. All that, just eating like the dry Boca burgers and just having falafels and the new nut dogs were like super plasticky. And just trying to be really creative back then. And even just the word vegan, people couldn't pronounce it right. Even vegetarian, it was like such an alien lifestyle back then. And like for you to be doing that and being the first one to do it and then have it blow up.
Exactly. Like I never in a million years would have guessed I'd, there'd be like a vegan baking revolution or that I would have paved the way for anybody else to start other companies. That's amazing.
Yeah. So when your business first kicked off, you were doing it. So you did the 11 cakes and then what happened next after that? Like, when you had to open up a spot? How long after that did it get really crazy? Did it happen overnight? Like,
Oh, within a few months, I had rented a place down the street and turned it into an official like commercial kitchen. And then in
Okay.
2004, I opened my first retail store.
okay.
In here where I live in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I opened my first retail store, and it was funny because the space I just needed more space, which by the way is my same problem here in 2019.
Yeah.
Space.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's not like you're trying to downsize, you're trying to fucking upgrade. So that's
Oh yeah, it's only grown.
Yeah.
It's been crazy since then. But I lost my train of thought.
Well, were there vegans in that small town where you lived?
That's what I was gonna say. I didn't know if anyone would actually come.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I was like, I can open a retail store. I'm not sure if anyone will actually show up. Oh, but they showed up.
Yeah.
And they still show up. People fly from all over the world. People have camped in front of the bakery.
For drops and shit. Yeah.
Oh my God, we have a line down the street pretty much every day.
So you think some of those same people from that town like are still coming? Maybe that
I
might
think
still live there.
half the people in my town don't really even know or care what vegan is. They just know it's a great bakery and they just come. You
I
know,
love
we have
that.
a regular guy that has like a hunting license on his hat. That's just funny.
Wow.
I mean, obviously I hate these things, but you know what? He's eating vegan dessert, so I've done my job.
So they like it because it tastes good. It doesn't matter if it's vegan or not. You make a good product and people like it.
Exactly. And I've realized that if you make something, you know, like a vegan cake, it's a really easy way to seduce people into thinking and caring. You know, I always say
Yeah.
compassion starts with your fork. It's the single greatest thing you could do to impact the planet, the environment.
Yeah.
And it's a really easy thing.
You're on the same telepathic wave as Tall Ronan from Crossroads because his world peace starts in the kitchen. And I love that. Like you're just making good quality food that just happens to be vegan. That's actually tasty and almost better than shit that's not vegan. And that's how you win people. Holy shit, because people have this stereotype of veganism, especially back then. Like it was this hippie kind of dry patties and all this kind of boring food, nuts and all this stuff. And you make something like that's moist and like a real cake or something that's really tasty. People are like, holy shit, I could actually probably eat this stuff.
Exactly.
You know, like,
And by the way, I love Crossroads and Tal, and I think it's, he's definitely set the bar high for vegan food. It's incredible and amazing.
yeah, so
The world's a better place with him in it, that's for sure.
agreed. I would love you, Tall. So you should start. So you open up that bakery. That starts doing really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Hiring employees.
So here's when I realized I was doing something that people cared about. See, I didn't know this. I just had my head down. I was in the kitchen. I was making these cakes,
Working.
whatever. And I get asked to come to like an animal rights conference in Washington, D.C. Would you bring desserts to an animal rights conference in Washington, D.C.? I'm trying to think what year that would have been. Maybe 2005,
Okay.
I think. Something like that. So I show up with vegan desserts and there's a really long line of people. And I thought, that is so weird. What are they waiting for? Because there's speakers and all this stuff going on.
Yeah.
So I show up and I walk in and all these people start clapping. And I was like, oh my God, they're waiting in line for dessert. Like, is this happening right now?
Shit, like a rock star.
I was
and shit.
embarrassed. I like wanted to hide. But I get back and I set up the desserts and the people organizing the event came over and complained. They're like, no one's in the rooms with the speakers. Like, this is a distraction. But
You
I mean,
invited me.
yeah. But this is kind of like what's happening. You know, we do veg fests. We have huge lines. I mean, I'm just trying to do the best I can and put the best product out there that I possibly can. But I didn't know that what I was doing was special. I was just doing it.
And you were in it every day. So you're like,
Yeah.
you're creating new shit every day. You're in your own world. And people are like, and it's crazy because that's before the internet was really like popping and you can be buzzing about the cool vegans. You couldn't Google like I mean, obviously maybe you could on the computer, but I'm just saying like that's kind of way before like what it is now. So that's just word of mouth by your product being great and people just, you try vegan treats. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's fucking...
Like, I know that I put a lot of time and care and into what I do and stuff like that. But like, for example, a few years ago, American Express named us one of the top 10 bakeries in the world. Not vegan bakeries. And when they sent me the email, I put it in the trash because I thought it was spam.
Are you serious? Let's try to get a credit card for you. Are you
And then
serious?
I was like, I think maybe I'll just forward that over to like, you know, someone I trust and have them look it over and see what they think. And they're like, no, I really do think American Express is naming you one of the top 10 bakeries in the world. And I was like, what?
You're on their fucking radar. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man.
And then I sent like them a few photos and it happened. Like, it's just stuff like that always blows my mind because I mean, like in the vegan world, right? We all know what's good. We find it, we seek it out, and that's amazing. But to get the other, 98% of the population eating vegan, like to me, that's the greatest achievement.
Yeah, for sure. Like you can't preach to the converted all. Obviously, vegans gonna love you, but yeah, getting other people to try it and like, yeah, it's amazing. That should be the whole goal, is like inspiring people to get off their meat eating diets and try something different through good foods, and that's fucking awesome, man.
Right, but I need to spread out to the West Coast.
I wasn't gonna go there. I was gonna wait to the end and get to see how you're feeling. But yeah, my goal is for her to have vegan treats in California, and a lot of people that are listening know a lot of people that that I know in my group of vegan people that we would love to have her out here. We all be very supportive of that and help her do that any way we can. That's a different topic, different subject. So now you're on the radar of American Express. Your shit's blown up, and let's get to Fatally Yours, named after Alkaline Trio song.
That's right.
And it's like one of your biggest things you have every year for Valentine's Day, and you sell a lot of those, and people order them. It's like a pre-order for them, probably, right?
Yeah, that was also an accident, by the way.
Okay.
I just never really liked Valentine's Day.
Okay.
And my mom had a box of chocolates that they were not vegan. My stepfather bought them for her, and it was like a few days before Valentine's Day, and I asked her if I could have the empty box, and I spray painted it black. And I paper mache like a skull on the front or whatever, and I gave them to a friend of mine to be funny. I made like skulls and coffins. I didn't even post it. Like he just happened to post it online.
Got you.
And I woke up to like 57 emails of people like wanting this chocolate box. This is like back in 2000.
Was there anything in the chocolate box, or just the top?
Yeah, I made chocolates in it.
Got you.
I made skulls, and I think I made like chocolate teeth and like tombstones and like all this weird stuff. And yeah. So anyway, I started to make. sort of became like. It was the antithesis of Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Like,
so did you have Skiba about it when it first went down? Like, I'm going to do this after a song? Like how it was?
I mean, I just naturally thought it should be called Fatally Yours.
Yeah.
And of course I sent him one and asked him if he'd mind. I was like, do you mind? He's like, no, it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, that's like a fucking phenomenon, that whole...
Right. So I didn't know that making this Valentine's box would make me become like the spokesperson of anti-Valentine's Day. Like last year I did interviews with BBC World News and Canadian National News over like a black chocolate.
Valentine's Day?
Yeah. Why do you hate love so much?
What the fuck?
I don't. It's just funny, like it doesn't have to be about teddy bears. Like it could also be something cool. And I don't know, maybe the like black gothic heart in me like speaks louder than I realized.
Yeah. But then like, cause I see those and I see like, there's a lot of people that want those and get bummed when they're sold out. Like
they sell out quick.
Yeah. And so you had to rent out extra space this past year to make them.
Oh my God.
It just happened to be in a church.
Yeah. So we are busting at the seams. We're like trying to expand into a production facility. So that's going to be the next step.
Anybody listening lives in the area that has a big, gigantic building you're trying to sell, let her know. Go ahead.
Yeah, maybe one day it'll be like Tasty Cake. They get their supplies by train car. I'm envious.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Anyway, I want to live in a world where space is not an issue. I feel like I feel like it's a bakery on a treadmill. Like we're always trying to catch up. But anyway, so we wanted to produce this chocolate box and we can never seem to make enough. Demand is a problem. I mean, it's a great problem, but it's nonetheless, growing pains are a struggle. Yeah. So we rented a commercial kitchen, which happened to be in a church. And it was, can we come make a few boxes of chocolate? And by a few, I mean like a couple thousand.
Yeah, of dead body parts at a church.
Yeah, so last year's theme was I love you to pieces. And it was a severed hand holding a note that says I love you to pieces, Fatally Yours. Yeah. When you opened it up, it was all organs. So, we're making these chocolates and the pastor keeps coming in to check on us. Is everything okay? And I'm like, how am I going to have to hide these severed fingers? It's just so uncomfortable.
They definitely seen him for sure.
He didn't seem to care, honestly. He was really nice.
Did they try any of it?
I felt a little stressed out over it.
Did they try any of it?
Yeah, we left him chocolates every day. We always left them snacks around.
Have you felt any pressure being a woman? I don't know what it's like being just a woman in the industry in general, trying to be like start your own business, but just a woman in general, I guess, not just the vegan community, any kind of business, but was there been any backlash as being a woman running this or no?
I would say just a lot of it has to do with like when I was starting out my company. Yeah. I would say a lot of, people just like, oh, you can't do that. No way. Like, that's not going to be good. I always was like working cafes and stuff like that. And the chefs would always be like, oh, the weird vegan girl, But like jokes on them. Yeah.
So the joke is on them because when your shit started blowing up, it started becoming everywhere. So I was living in Manhattan at the time. So your stuff was at like Vegetarian Paradise, maybe?
Oh, I can give you an example.
Give me an example, please.
I have a couple accounts in New York. Okay. Whose name I will not speak. Okay. And they'll call my bakery to place like their wholesale order, and sometimes I'll answer the phone and they won't give me their order because they refuse to give their order to a woman. So I have to hand them off to like one of my managers, like who's a dude.
Serious?
It's crazy.
Even though your shit sells and helps their business?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get a guy who you can give your order to. Like, are you kidding me? I run and operate this place.
Wow.
Yeah. It's kind of ridiculous.
Still to this day that happens.
Still to this day.
So I remember seeing your shit in Manhattan. I was super psyched about that. Me and my wife lived a couple blocks from Michael and Zoe's. We lived on 2nd Avenue and 5th Street.
Yeah, Michael and Zoe's.
Yeah, so that's when we first started seeing your stuff. What was the first place I got into in New York?
First place was Veg City Diner. Remember
Veg
that
City
place?
Diner. Yeah, I do remember that.
They had that spinny dessert case.
Yeah. Veg City Diner.
Yeah. And then I remember Michael and Zoe's was closing, and there was Atlas right down the street. And at that time, they had nothing vegan. And I went in there and said, listen, I'm selling a lot of cakes up the street, and I promise you, if you carry them on your menu, you're going to be busy. And they thought I was crazy, but they took a chance on me, and they did it. And yeah, they're one of our biggest accounts in New York City.
It's fucking awesome. And they're still there, right?
Moby Spot.
Yeah.
Teeny
used to put shit there too?
Yeah. They still do, even though it's under other ownership.
I know it's still there. Is it still called Teeny? We edit that shit out.
I don't remember.
Shout out to Moby. We have to get that shit at Little Pine too. That's
his desserts
awesome.
are great there, though.
Yeah, they're really good. I like the chocolate chip cookies with little thing of milk.
Red Bamboo. You know, I remember
Red Bamboo, the OG spot.
It was funny, like some of the challenges were getting into certain neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Like you had to have like a certain group of people like give you like, I don't know, a glowing recommendation, and then all of a sudden I get delivered to all the soul foods places in Harlem.
Oh, that's right.
And then because it was okay with them, then it was okay with like Mr. Wong, who owned Red Bamboo, and then it was okay with all the, you know, Chinese restaurants downtown. Like it was funny.
Wow. So how many places is it in right now in New York?
That's
your biggest. That's your biggest place where everything goes. Correct?
Yeah, it is. I would have to. I don't know.
10, 20 places.
Oh no, it's probably over 100. We
100
delivered
places in Manhattan.
We delivered all 5 boroughs.
Oh shit, that's amazing.
Yeah, Brooklyn. There's so many spots in Brooklyn.
So how does that work? Delivering stuff from Bethlehem to New York. Like, what is that process like? Is it once
we have
a
3
week?
delivery trucks. They're out every day, and we leave the weekends open for wedding and special order deliveries.
Okay.
It's crazy.
So you do a lot of weddings too?
We do. And right now we only have an 18-hour window to turn over wholesale because we're so busy. So we need to have the first order go out in order for another order, to start baking. So I have an incredible team, 53 people. We work 24 hours a day. It's an insane operation unless you saw it.
I need to go there and see it.
It doesn't slow down ever.
Yeah.
What's your slow season? I'm like, that's funny. We're off on Christmas Day. That's
so, okay, so you started getting to all the restaurants, all the spots where I used to get your stuff. And then where did it go after New York? Did it go to Boston? Did it go anything further? Or was that the main Pennsylvania and New York?
Well, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Philadelphia, New Jersey, New York City. But you know what's funny? Our retail store in Bethlehem, PA is so insanely busy.
Yeah.
It's
I think
crazy.
people drive to get shit for to experience it.
Yeah, like that single retail store is like all the wholesale combined. Like it's so busy.
So when did you start... so it started blowing up. You started hiring all these people. You got a bigger spot, obviously. Then it became like, was there a moment you realized like, this is my career, this is my business, this is going to be a long-term thing? Like, because you kind of just winged it at first by making a couple for that spot.
Oh yeah, I winged it at first, but I have a great care and precision in what I'm doing. I mean, my first goal when I started hiring employees, back in 2004, was, I want to hire like the most skilled technical chefs I can find on the planet. And
how'd you do that? Living in Bethlehem, was that hard?
I did a lot of interviews and found like the right team of people. I mean, for the first like almost 10 years of my business, it was just my mom and I was working 90 hours a week. It was insane.
Damn.
I did everything. Yeah, I did everything. I drove every single cake I delivered. That was the hardest thing to give up, letting someone else drive the cakes. I'm like, they're going to turn too fast.
It's your baby. You put it together. It's
exactly.
It's like your fucking art piece. Yeah.
Exactly. But, these days I couldn't do it by myself anymore. I've far outgrown that. And now we have like, a team of 9 pastry chefs and chocolatiers and a sculpting department and a team of bakers and front of house counter and amazing managers. And we're like a really close knit family, and I love them. And I hope some of them want to relocate to LA.
Yeah, you have a lot of day one people been with you for the whole time.
Not day one, but probably around day 6. They've been with me a long time. Yeah. I have some lifers for sure. It's amazing.
When did you ever nail down the ingredients that would make everything? Because you kind of winged it at first, trying to find like your egg replacer type stuff. Was there a moment where you're like, this is going to be for did you just kind of wing it?
In those moments I was winging it, I was creating things like the peanut butter bomb, which is still on my menu today. Yeah, those original recipes have never changed.
Yeah.
That's what's funny. Some of those things we still make, and we continue to evolve. Like I brought you those Butterfingers. Like we're always trying to stay ahead of the curve, make new things.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Butterfingers and the Twix. And the Reese's peanut butter cups. Those are my wife's favorite. You always bring her out to her. I can have one because we eat them all, and I get crazy. But when did that happen? And obviously you're a fan of Twix and Butterfingers because Butterfingers are the best. Like, did you realize, fuck, there's no versions of some of the best candy bars?
I was just satisfying my own sweet tooth, really. And then it made a lot of other people happy in the process. And
does Butterfinger know about that and Twix? Do they know that you're doing their exact? Is there like
I can't really call them. Yeah, I mean, that's a problem, you know? It's their creation, but I just really want a vegan version of it.
Yeah, and they got to know you exist.
I'm sure. Yeah.
You don't call it that.
I just can't call it that. I call them, you know, quote, better finger bars. Yeah.
And Twox?
I call them twin caramel cookie STIX sticks. You know?
So how hard, how did you figure out that? Just copy the ingredients, like, basically? Or
I don't know.
That. How'd you
No, you can't. I didn't even look at their ingredients. I was just going by like a texture thing. So like Butterfingers, it's like it's got to be a candy temperature type thing. Like I have a certain knowledge of figuring it out.
Yeah, and was there a lot of dairy in those originally?
I have no idea.
Because Butterfinger, obviously butter.
I don't know. The butter could be peanut butter, though.
Yeah, I don't think about that shit. Because there's a lot of vegan things by default. There's those peanut chews that are made in your town, I think, right?
Yeah, those are vegan, but most of those candies aren't.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know this.
But for people listening, like, the peanut chews is the bomb. It's like an East Coast thing, and it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, they're like a really good little candy. I take those to the movies.
So the Twix and the whatever you call them, those are fucking amazing. And so, when did you start doing like weddings and stuff? Made your first wedding cake?
Oh, I've been doing those all along.
Okay.
Yeah.
From when you guys first opened?
Yeah, like when I first opened the retail store, I started doing wedding cakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was like a whole different thing for you to make.
Yeah, actually, that was like a real art. That was like the one thing I didn't want to do because brides are sort of terrifying.
Yeah.
They bring notebooks.
Well, it's just a stressful time for them. It's a big deal getting married, so they want the perfect cake.
That was the first thing I relinquished to other people. Can you do wedding consultations?
Did you ever have a cake smash in the van?
Oh my God!
Tell that story. This is great because I remember you telling me the story.
Yeah, of course. You can't do anything without running into some problem along the way. You know.
Yeah.
Those are the things. What is that?
Oh, who knows?
Something outside.
That was something that happened. You had to fix it or some shit. Maybe you told me the story.
It could have been so many stories.
Crashed and you had to go.
I woke up to a picture text of like a 4-tiered like wedding cake that had fallen over on the drive.
Explain what 4-tier means because I don't know what that means. It's
well,
big.
you know, like when you get a wedding cake, it's like stacked up. It was like a 4-tier cake, and the driver like went around a turn really fast, and he had to take it to Queens early in the morning. And instead of like calling me to talk about it, he sent me a picture text of it just like sideways in the back of the delivery truck, and I was like, oh my God. But I mean, it was early enough. It was an early delivery that I met, one of my pastry chefs. I called him in and we went to the bakery and we tried to replicate it. And
did it work?
It wasn't exactly the same. I think I ended up having to like refund them I'm getting anxiety. I'm sweating thinking about this.
And gave them the cake anyway.
Of course. I mean, there's no way in a million years I was going to let them down.
Yeah.
It was just impossible to make what was intended. I think they ended up with like a 3-tier cake, and then we got like sheet cakes that we were able to slice. Was that one of the stressful moments? If I think about it for more than 10 seconds, I'm stressed out. Like my hands will start to sweat.
Yeah, but never happen again.
I'm such a perfectionist. Yeah. I like strive to not make mistakes. And always want people to be happy.
We're not perfect either. You do your best.
Exactly. But like if I made a mistake or forgot a cake at one of my accounts in New York City or something, like I would literally drive to New York the next day and bring it to them because I was like, can't let them down.
I mean, that's the epitome of DIY and epitome of like, I'll do an example. So you have a band, you have managers, and they try to like help you do things, but in reality, you end up doing more because it's your baby and your passion, and other people try to help, but it's your shit and you want it to be perfect. And so it's the same thing. Like you're the artist and you're making this, other people are helping you, but it's your name and it's like your reputation and it's like your passion and love. So you have to make sure it's perfect.
Right. I mean, well, and people don't care like, oh, so-and-so is having a bad day or you just had a baker quit. That doesn't matter. None of that matters. What matters is that you show up and you provide what you said you provide and you did a great job.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I have an amazing staff of people helping me pull off all the yeses now.
Yeah.
I have a hard time saying no because I always think like if I say no, what if this place goes out and gets a non-vegan option or calls some other bakery and those are the things that keep me sleepless. And
do you sleep?
I do sleep, but the bakery never shuts off. It's always on my mind.
It's 24 hours because it's yours.
It is.
Yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, luckily I have amazing people and we all work together to make it happen. And
yeah, it's hard to was it probably hard to let go at first to let somebody take over and maybe start baking and stuff because you couldn't do it all. So someone else was doing what you like. There was a duplicate of you doing that.
Right.
It's kind of hard to let go at first, right? Because that's your baby and your product. And
it was so hard. I was probably a horrible person to work for at the beginning because I was probably like, what? Huh, no, don't do that. You know,
perfectionist. Yeah.
Yeah. But now it's like it's wonderful.
So that's what's kind of hard about thinking about Open One LA because you have your team there. You need the exact team here.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that there would be a demand for it here and do really well, and there's nothing like that in Los Angeles. It's easy for me to say, come out here and do it, but you need to have that team here and just as good people.
It takes an army.
Because it's your reputation, it's your name now for 20 years. So it's like,
right.
Vegan Treat's got to be just as good or better when they come to Los Angeles.
Which I'm ready for. I love a challenge.
You listening, people? She's putting that shit on fucking, it's recording right now. She's ready for a challenge. All right, so, 20, damn, so.
We sound old, Toby.
No, we don't. we look good because of our diet, so we look young. So, were there people coming out then when you started blowing up that were copying you?
Yeah, but I always try to take it as a compliment, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it was weird to see like a replica of my peanut butter bomb on the Food Network, you know, like we came to Philadelphia to get this cake that everyone's been talking about. And I'm like, wrong place.
Are you serious?
Yeah, stuff like that has happened. It's been weird.
You can't trademark that shit?
It's trademarked, but you know, people don't do their homework sometimes. And you know, what's really interesting is the trademark Vegan Treats got taken away, which I hate and love. And here's why I hate it. Well, because it's my name. But why I love it is because vegan treats have become such a popular descriptive term that it's kind of like using the word Xerox. So congratulations, we are succeeding, vegans.
That's true.
Yeah, but at the
Everybody
same time, what do I
treats.
do? You know, my company's called Vegan Treats because back then people didn't know what those were.
So what do you mean somebody took it away? You don't own the rights to the name?
I have the rights to the name of the store, but no, I don't even know if I should talk about this on air because
yeah,
give people ideas.
But when people Google, I'm looking for some vegan treats. They just Google vegan treats, and oh my god, all this options. You probably know one that comes up,
right?
But like, all kinds of treats you can get being vegan,
exactly,
sweets and stuff.
So because it's become like a vegan treat, and people are using that now readily, the name of the company trademarking has been taken away. Because that's like a
weird word back there. People couldn't even pronounce the word vegan, and like people weren't saying that. Like, what the fuck's that? Probably at first too. Like, what's a vegan treat?
Vegan, yeah,
exactly. And now it's like the most common fucking word.
Yeah.
Along with gluten-free and plant-based and all these, it's crazy how fast forward to now 20 years, how it's a normal thing and everybody's having vegan options. It's incredible to see that happen in my lifetime being on this planet and being meat-free for so many years is seeing all the options, man. And you were one of the pillars of that. And I thank you for that. You were one of the pillars to start that is with the baking goods and all of America. And who knows, it might have been something in Germany, but I doubt it. Or somewhere in the other country. But
I don't think so.
You set that off. Like, you set it off.
You know, I never realized how synonymous vegan eating was with music, though. That was what was really interesting. Like back even from day one, like how many bands have requested desserts or that we had to show up and bring desserts. That was really interesting to me. And I remember thinking that was so cool. Like I remember delivering
cakes. What was the
cakes.
first band?
Well, before I knew like any of the AFI guys, like I remember them asking me if I would bring desserts to Roseland.
Sick.
And I brought desserts up to the backstage area and they're like, oh, just a minute. And I was like, what are they doing? Like I was outside like the dressing room door and I was kind of nervous. Like, what are they up to?
Are you AFI fan at the time?
Yeah, of course. They're great. But I didn't know anything about them as people. So I was like, I don't know what they're doing in there. Awesome. Like I felt awkward. And I opened up the door and the reason they had me wait is because they were all on their hands and knees bowing.
Bowing to you?
Yes.
Holy shit.
And I was
That's fucking amazing.
What? Like that was my introduction to Davey. I was like, what is happening?
Wow.
He's like, you know, like that, like it was crazy. And that was such an honor back then. I remember just being blown away. Like, what? How are people I'm fans of a fan of my food? Like that is wild.
Fucking amazing.
Now it's just become normal. And these are some of my closest friends. And it's just, we're like a awesome community together and we're strong, better together. Right. But back then it was just like, what? Like this is so cool.
Were you shipping stuff out to bands on tour too, or
if they requested it? Yeah, like we've got a lot of tour managers like requesting stuff. We've delivered to so many people.
Met a lot of people through just your food.
Yeah, oh my god,
and that must feel good because it's something you created out of passion and compassion for everything.
And I mean that's amazing. And I mean one thing I could say about that is it gets other people eating vegan. You know, when their favorite rock stars like supporting my company, of course other people are like, oh, I want to eat vegan, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, while all that stuff is cool, I think what it's all about is that we're getting people to eat more compassionately.
100%. I mean that's the goal of all of it. And you've been doing it for 20 years. It's pretty amazing. So now it's just like everybody. I know Tony Canal has been there like three or four times. He's been over to there. He loves it. Mm-hmm. yeah, everybody loves your stuff. Everybody wants your stuff. It's a high demand. I'm sure like, so people can order online too. You ship it all around the world.
Yeah, we ship seasonally.
Okay.
Yeah, we're about to be shipping for Halloween soon. We bring out like the Fatally Yours Halloween edition.
Wow, man. And so there's a whole shipping department.
Yeah.
And everything's all in one building at this point, right?
It's
shipping, cooking, packing, all that shit.
It is. But this is just the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, 20 years is a long, but yeah, it's crazy. Like, yeah,
we're kind of in the bottleneck though. We've had such a tremendous like growth spurt, but now it's time to branch out and expand.
Yeah. It must be an amazing journey if you've seen from when you started till now, how popular veganism is and how it's changing the planet, and you being there from the beginning, maybe a little bit struggling in the beginning, maybe not, just people really not knowing what the hell it was that you were making or the word vegan, and now like
I never would have guessed this in a million years.
Dude.
I never would have guessed it. And you know what? I am so proud to have like accomplished this, and I love that there's so many like vegan bakers and other things out there that are popping up all over the place. I think there's room for everybody, and we should encourage it as much as we possibly can.
Yeah, it's not a competition, and it's not like I'm a better vegan or you're a better cook, whatever. It's just all of us are doing it for the animals. The number one goal is to save the animals and the planet. So it doesn't matter if some of the stuff might taste similar or look similar or be in maybe the same area. It's just everybody's trying. I'd rather have more options like that than a bunch of meat options in restaurants around. I'd rather have a bunch of vegan restaurants on one street.
Exactly.
Which, you know what I mean? Like it's super important. A lot of people get caught up where it's like, it's not about you at all. Me. It's not about that person. It's about the animals. And that's why people are doing things. It's a very selfless act. It's not a selfish act.
And everybody should definitely spend like more of their negative energy trying to change things that we want to change about the world in a more positive way instead of being negative towards each other. I think would be a really great message to take away.
Yeah, I think sometimes the vegans sometimes do that to other vegans. It's sometimes vegans are the worst enemy of vegans because everybody's very opinionated and everybody doesn't see the big picture. Not all of us are on the same page as far as saving the planet and animals. Sometimes people are really particular about, like just say now, like the Impossible and the Beyond, it's in fast food restaurants. Like we don't have to go in those restaurants, but we can support it and promote it and let people know there's these options, because most of those companies are for meat eaters to get them to wean off of meat, have an option that's a little more healthier at fast food. And some vegans are in uproar because it might be cooked on the same grill. You don't have to go eat it. Nobody's forcing anybody to go eat these products. These products are out there for everybody to try. It doesn't have to be for us. But I respect the fact that they're there and they're making a massive impact. And Impossible and Beyond is like the biggest threat to the meat industry I've ever seen in my entire life on this planet.
It's amazing, and I completely agree with what you said, 100%.
Yeah, it's really like, it's frustrating when you see people like talking shit about it. It's like, listen, man, you don't have to eat it, and it's killing it. My wife went and tried it, and she went and tried it on Slauson and Crenshaw, and every time she tries something new at these places, she'll say, how's it doing? Oh my God, it's flying out the door. Mm-hmm. So in all these different neighborhoods throughout Los Angeles and probably the country, my friend hit me up, he's eating an Impossible Burger in Arkansas. Like for people who are touring bands who've like struggled and had phony bologna in their fucking pocket and made Subway sandwiches in the early 90s, there's all these options out there, Del Taco, all that shit.
Yeah.
And it's great that they're there. And obviously for me personally, I try to eat less of the fake stuff, and our main stop on tour is Whole Foods for everybody, because not everybody's a vegan in my band. But there's always going to be options. But the fact that it's catching on, and even if it is a trend, it's the most positive, amazing trend that's helping animals. And that's the number one thing. It's saving lives. So it's the best trend this planet's ever fucking seen. You know what I mean? Like plant-based.
Exactly. I always feel like people are vegan for, 3 reasons. It's either like animal rights, environmental reasons, or health reasons, right?
Yeah.
I'm definitely for the animals.
Yeah.
But it also helps all those other things as well.
100%.
So.
Yeah, it's like another 2 or 3 perks that comes with it. You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like trying to save the animals. So about animals, you go to South Africa a lot, and you actually go into the jungle with gorillas and all kinds of fucking massive animals. When did that start? And tell us about it, please, a little bit. Because I've seen pictures and shit. It's fucking insane. It's insane. When did you start going there?
I took my mom for her 60th birthday. I love wildlife, so
yeah.
I just love to get to Africa if I can.
Yeah.
I try to go. I went trekking for mountain gorillas in Rwanda. I mean, originally, I wanted to be able to see the animals that
in real life
are the reason I do what I do.
Exactly.
And sometimes when I have one of those nights where I'm stressed out and everything's possibly going wrong, it's like I have to reset and remember why I'm doing it,
Mm-hmm. So going out there, what was it like the first time going in the jungle, the fucking massive if you see these pictures, people, maybe she'll post them or give me one to post someday. It's just like massive gorillas and fucking lions and tigers and shit like that. No tigers. Sorry. And bears. Oh my. She's like, no tigers. Okay, so gorillas and shit. So how close have you gotten to one of them? And is it scary?
Mountain gorillas, they're really gentle, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really sweet. I love them.
You got to touch them and stuff right up close with them?
Actually, like my third day of trekking for gorillas, I wanted to see the Sabino group because it's the largest silverback in the world. He weighed 660 pounds. And I was right up front because I was so excited. And I was right next to the guide. And the silverback just came barreling over and he grabbed my arm and lifted it up. I guess the gorilla had never seen like full sleeves, tattoos.
Holy shit, he's like a tattooed human. What the fuck is this?
Yeah. And he lifted up my arm and kind of turned my arm and then dropped it and then like went back to eating. But the guide almost like died.
He could have ripped your arm off in like 1 second.
He was so gentle. His hand felt like my dad's, like rough, like a hardworking hand, I was elated. I was so excited.
Like
I was so happy. I don't even know. I was like, oh my God, a gorilla just touched me.
So he fucking grabbed your hand.
On my arm.
And looked at your tattoos.
Yeah. He grabbed my arm, twisted it, looked at my tattoos, and then just like went back to eating.
Holy shit. That moment must have been.
It was amazing.
So for people listening, my friend Brian, this guy from Black Train Jack, he was on the episode last week. She just told me that she was in the
Rwanda.
In Rwanda with the fucking gorillas. And a gorilla came over to a gigantic silverback.
Yeah, silverback, the big male.
And grabbed her arm and picked it up and looked at her tattoos. And then put her arm down. Yeah. Arm down. It could have just ripped that shit off and fucking ate it.
They're vegetarians, Toby.
What?
They're vegetarians.
No, I know. They're the strongest living vegetarian on the planet. So when people say, where do you get your protein from? Look at the fucking gorilla, you ass. So I had coffee today, too. It's my new thing I did with Brian last week. So, yeah, they're such a powerful, strong animal. That's fucking amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
What else did you see out there?
Oh my gosh, everything.
She goes to Africa a lot and sees animals. It's fucking awesome. That's a real fucking vegan, being out there in the fucking wilderness with the animals. Any snakes or anything or not?
Yeah, I got to, I saw a baby python, a regular python. I don't know.
Did you get sick
lions, cheetahs, leopards?
Did you get sick out there or something weird happened or? Didn't you get weird?
That was the first time I went to Africa. Do we have to talk about that?
Did you get, all right, is it bad? Did you eat like some poisonous shit or something? You ate some poisonous shit. You're going to tell the story. People like stories, man. You're going to tell the poison story.
Oh, it's so embarrassing. I've been to Africa so many times.
What not to eat in the fucking jungle.
All right. I went to Africa for 3.5 weeks.
I like the face double. Not on you. On Brian, the face double looks good. I'm not saying Danielle's face double. Your face double looks good, Brian. Okay, so go ahead.
Oh my God.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we were on safari. And there was this plant I kept seeing, and they had these, green pods. It looked like edamame, maybe like a snap pea.
Yeah.
But the guide only spoke Swahili, and then another guide spoke Swahili and English. Or sorry, I'm saying it all wrong. Can we start over?
Let's go start over again. I can erase that. Let's keep it going.
All right, anyway, so there were these pods. They kind of looked like snap peas or something like that. And there was a Maasai guy who spoke Maasai and Swahili, and then there was a guy who spoke Swahili and English. So I had to get translated through two people. So basically I said, are these edible? And what I thought the answer was through two translations was yes.
Okay.
So.
Or are these edibles? Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
So I pick one of these beans because I just wanted something green. Like I'd been eating like chapati and beans for days. And I picked it and I ate it, part of it, and it tasted really disgusting. And I threw it out. I threw it over, whatever. And my cousin was standing next to me. It was just my mom, my cousin, myself, and my one friend. And I was sitting there and I was like, I don't know. I think at this point, it started to kick in.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, my face feels weird. Mm-hmm. I was trying to touch my face because it felt numb, but I couldn't comprehend that my arm wouldn't lift up to touch my own face.
Holy shit.
So I was trying to figure it out. And then finally my hand made its way to my face and I was like, it's really wet. I remember thinking like, I think I'm drooling, but I couldn't comprehend it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't function properly.
Yeah.
And then I just remember my cousin looking at me, like I could kind of see her looking at me. And the next thing I know, I was on the ground and they were like pouring cold buckets of water over my head. And this Maasai guy grabbed a machete and immediately shredded this thick piece of grass and started feeding it down my throat to induce vomiting. Well, anyway, I had eaten really poisonous beans and could have died. Wow. And was extremely sick. And the closest hospital was 3 hours away.
Dude, so we ended up anxiety right now. I'm a hypochondriac anyway. Dude, I'd be freaking. Go ahead.
Basically, you're just telling everyone that I'm a big idiot.
No, you're not. What are you supposed to know not to eat a fucking thing in Africa?
I think.
You're not at all.
Okay, here's the lesson. Never eat anything you don't know what it is anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Especially maybe not Africa.
But if you're down the street from a hospital and you want to get something weird thing in the bushes.
No, don't do it. But you know
close.
what? Thank God for Maasai tribesmen, by the way. Like,
yeah.
They knew their shit.
So the silverback is the closest you ever come to the biggest gorilla probably when he grabs your arm.
Yeah, I've had a few of the baby gorillas like come up and like shove me, like push my legs and
they're
stuff.
so strong, right?
I mean, the little ones are just funny. They're like ridiculous little goofballs, but
they're well protected and well respected out there.
So yeah, in Rwanda is like 60% of the population of gorillas. There's about 800, and they only allow 8 visitors once a day for 1 hour. You have to apply for a permit, and it's one of the best things you could do for conservation is supporting things like the Gorilla Fund. You know?
Holy shit! There's only 800 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and you can cross into the other side in the Congo. There's also mountain gorillas and lowland gorillas, and but that's a little bit more of a dangerous territory to visit. But going to Rwanda is amazing and super safe and one of the most exquisite places on earth.
Do you want to do the dangerous one someday?
I dream of going to the Democratic Republic of Congo because it's the last great ape I've yet to see is the bonobo.
Wow, that's fucking awesome. So you're going to go there sometime soon? Like, that's your goal?
I would like to. I just can't convince anyone to go with me.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go. I'm a little scared. That'd be kind of crazy. So when was the last time you went to Africa?
This year. I went to...
You try every year, right?
I try, but it's not that easy.
Yeah.
Depends where you want to go. It's a lot of planning.
So here we are 20 years later with the vegan treats.
Mm-hmm.
You've done all this great thing for animals. What's the next move for vegan treats besides Los Angeles that we discussed earlier? Expanding.
Some serious expansion is on the horizon. Yeah.
She needs a big ass fucking factory somewhere.
Correct.
And to get you.
I need mass production. This is working very inefficiently. People are, overlapping at my bakery. It's insane.
Yeah, that's such a good thing though too.
Yeah.
What is some advice you could give to like anybody starting a business because you basically started making shit in the kitchen at your house because you became vegan and you wanted make a dessert because there was no desserts that are vegan. So I'm going to make my own fucking cake. Never cooked before, never baked before. Just fucking did it because you wanted to do it. And then it became your life for 20 years. And Vegan Treats is so successful. Like I said before, the first vegan bakery on the fucking planet. And what kind of advice would you give to somebody that's starting a business? Whether it's whatever it's going to be. Like, would it just stick to it? Or what's your motivation besides saving the animals? Pretty much.
I guess I would just say that hard work. You got to work hard, and it doesn't matter if someone else is doing it better. You just got to do it, and you got to show up. Because I might not be the best out there, although you think so.
You are the best.
But the point is I never quit. I don't ever quit, and I keep going, and I give it 110%.
Yeah, you work hard.
Yeah, I mean, and it's kind of how I feel, and I feel like how many animals have been killed in the amount of time we've been sitting here.
It's true.
I'd have to look up a statistic, but it's in the millions.
Yeah. Did you ever feel like quitting?
I felt like quitting many times, but I had to remind myself that I wasn't doing it because I cared about cakes. I was doing it because I cared about animals.
Yeah, I love that. And do you have any regrets at all?
I have no regrets.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You're the first person ever on this podcast to say they had no regrets.
I have no regrets. I mean, I think everything you learn from everything you do, whether it's right or wrong, you just keep moving forward.
Yeah. So that's your main thing, is just never give up, believe in yourself. If you believe you're doing something, you continue to do it no matter what.
Exactly.
So many ups and downs. I'm sure you had some highs and lows in your career so far.
But you got to be passionate about it,
Mm-hmm.
You can't do it for money. You can't do it for stupid reasons. Like, you have to care about it.
And your passion is always going to be because you love the animals. You want to save them.
Exactly.
So it's like something you just into for a couple weeks, and I'm not into that passion no more, and I'm not going to do this no more. Like, this is something you live every day, and you travel to see animals, and you do everything you can to.
Yeah.
And also I would say stay in your own lane. Like, you did your own shit. You're never really worried about other people copying you. You support other people starting vegan companies because it all helps the planet. Regardless if people bit your recipe or not, you stayed focused and made your own stuff, made new things, created new things.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't let other people, what they're doing, distract you or whatever the next person is doing. Just do you and inspire others. And I feel like you live in proof to that. You're like the living proof of a DIY businesswoman.
I try to be. It's the most important thing in my life.
Yeah. I mean, you have how many people working for you again?
53.
53 working for you, 20 years doing it. And before the internet, before veganism was cool, all that, by word of mouth, because your product spoke volumes and people love the taste, and you said there's a lot of people go to your place aren't even vegan.
That's right. I've never advertised. I've never set out to get an account. It's all been word of mouth. I'm afraid what would happen if I tried.
Yeah, that's crazy.
When I'm ready.
Well, now with the internet, it's easy. Everybody can just Google fucking vegan treats and see. But before that, it was just word of mouth. And the vegan community was so fucking small. You know what I mean? Like, you know what to expect. You live in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. You know what to expect when you open up a fucking pastry shop there. It's all vegan. A fucking foreign word.
Exactly.
Back then, a foreign word, you know? So, yeah, man, I'm psyched for your shit to be in Crossville. It's going to be awesome. But first appears there. Okay, this is a stupid question to ask you. Optimistic or pessimistic person?
Optimistic. Oh, my God.
100%.
Are you kidding?
You're so posy. Always been so posy.
Yeah. Life's too short. I'm sorry. Life is too short.
Mm-hmm.
I always try to be super positive. I try to. I mean, I have my moments.
It's hard in this world.
Yeah, where lots of things go wrong, but yeah.
Yeah. Do you find yourself living in like a little PMA world of like, you do your running, you go to your shop, you make your bakery, you make your foods, all that shit, and then I try not to look at the news so much. I'm kind of in some bubble sometimes, too.
I'm in a vegan bubble. I sometimes forget. I really do. And I think I surround myself with people like-minded people, and I love, all the things I love. It's kind of magnetic.
Vegan in your world.
And then I'll show up to like a family picnic or something, and people are like eating hot dogs, and I was like, what? People still eat hot dogs?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I forget. I have to be reminded sometimes.
I feel the way too. Like the other day I walked out here and I saw a guy smoking on the corner. I was like, oh shit, people still smoke cigarettes? It's because it's like not the people I hang out with do that. You know, you get in their worlds.
Yeah.
So I went to eat, drink vegan, whatever out here,
mm-hmm.
and it's this huge vegan thing at the Rose Bowl, and there's like fucking lines for all these vegan companies I'd never heard of, like hundreds of them. It was overwhelming. I barely ate anything. I felt overwhelmed what to choose, So you do the same thing back home for 5 years as a vegan thing. And so what town is it in?
Oh, we do Veg Fests a lot of weekends. Year round.
Yeah,
we're in Albany Veg Fest today, right now, while I'm here doing this podcast with you. But my
shit.
manager texted me that we sold out, so we left early.
So what's the main one you do that you went to a couple weeks ago?
DC Veg Fest?
There was a big one somewhere.
That's the huge one.
They're all over, but I thought there was a Hershey or some small place or some shit. Somewhere in Pennsylvania.
Oh, Phoenixville, Pennsylvania.
We
did that one, yeah.
So when you have these things,
mm-hmm.
you're like the rock star. Like your shit, there's lines and your shit sells out. It's
I feel bad about the line, but I don't know how to make it go faster.
It's like the number one main thing out there is the vegan. I don't want the companies, but supposedly vegan treats is just like,
yeah,
it's the one out there.
It's crazy.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, they had to set up stanchions, like roller coaster line set up, zigzag.
Just to get the treats. I got some here. You're gonna give you a try one too, Brian. I have some in the refrigerator. You have to try one.
Toby, you don't refrigerate those.
You don't?
No.
No, Moon puts them in the refrigerator, so
she might like them cold.
It's trying to cover everything out, Danielle. It's crazy because I'm always going to call you Danielle Vegan Treats. I'm not going to say your last name, even though I said it before that. People can find you online, Vegan Treats.
Vegantreats.com, at Vegan Treats on Instagram.
Yeah.
Can request your ice cream flavors.
I think just to rewind real quick, because we have like a guest in here. Can hear just rewind the fact that you became vegan after seeing these lobsters and how they're being treated. Then you got your chicken on your plate, and then you fucking just made it right then. I'm not going to eat these animals anymore. They have feelings, and I'll be compassionate. Your mom was super supportive. But your mom always cooked for you and made great meals, but she always had a great dessert, and that's a big part of the dinner for you is always have good dessert. So you made your own cake, and it turned into this fucking company after 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
The story is amazing, man, because it's so DIY. It wasn't like you went to school and you wanted to be a chef and you fucking did all this. You got inspired, I think, through the scene of music and the people you're around, and they just transcended into your career.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like, I'm going to do this with my life. It just fucking happened.
Exactly.
Something just struck you when they saw the lobsters, and you're like, I don't want to eat that shit anymore. And then just by making a cake, hey, check this out, and they started spreading. It's crazy. I mean, the story's amazing, man.
It's crazy.
You did it all by yourself.
I don't even like baking.
You don't?
No.
But you did it by yourself, though, is what I'm saying. Did you?
Yeah. I had no financial support.
That's what I'm
I probably
saying.
had $100 in my bank account. I had a super supportive mom. I had insane ambition, which I've never lost. I don't know where that comes from, but I'm
hungry.
super dedicated. I do. I'm kind of an unstoppable force. Like, if it's worth doing, I'll do it, and I won't stop until I've done it right. So this is just, we're in the middle. This interview has to end with like ... because I don't know what's going to happen with vegan treats, but I won't stop until there's vegan options available.
I won't stop
everywhere.
Bothering you to this vegan treats, not just LA, but everywhere.
Be amazing.
Because you got the East Coast on lock, you ship internationally, all that, but like, there's nothing like that, and there's got to be a way to duplicate that in major cities because it'll do so well. Now is the time for you because you put so much hard work into it and so grassroots and so DIY, but now it's this massive
I got
vegan
assigned to a
machine.
major label now.
Yeah, you're very independent. I'm going to sell. Do not sell to a major.
I'm just
I was
kidding.
a seller to a major. What the kids said.
I'm kidding.
But we need you in LA. I'm going to push for that. I'm going to go on record saying I'd invest in that. I can name a bunch of people to invest in that. Even my friend probably right here. To have a vegan treats in Los Angeles, it's necessary. I know people that we know people that could run it, make it fucking awesome, and make it feel knowing that it's in good hands for you and that your shit's being made, if not better than it is on the East Coast, which I know it's hard to duplicate.
You better start practicing. You're going to have to get in the kitchen.
I can't cook shit. I barely make pasta for my wife. So on that note, I love you and appreciate you, everything you've done for the animals, and you continue to do for the animals, and how compassionate and positive and awesome you've been. A great friend to me for many, many years, 2 decades. I'm proud of you, and I can't wait to go eat vegan treats in LA. Not have to bother you to ship me shit. And everybody that supports her and for all these years, I know she appreciates it. And yeah, man, it's a great time to be a vegan. I'm very proud, to be one and see the world change in front of my eyes. And that one day we can all look back and can't believe, look back 10 years from now, 10 years later, we look back here and say, oh my God, people are still killing animals and slaughtering animals. It's just so barbaric and crazy. It still happens. But I think now everybody's being so more conscious and about what's going on,
I agree, and I love and appreciate you too. And I think it's important, everybody, I'll leave with this message, that it's only been a small group of people that have revolutionized this vegan movement. So a little bit goes a long way.
It's a really good point. Because when you did it, you didn't expect it to be big, and you did it because we're a small community who felt this way.
Exactly.
And you didn't care if any other people in your whole fucking town even knew about anything. You're just like, I'm going to open up this bakery, and whatever happens, happens.
Exactly, and it's making waves. And vegan desserts will soon not be the underdog. It will be the,
Do you feel
majority.
Do you feel like it's an underdog?
I mean, there's so many non-vegan desserts still out there, despite my vegan world.
Is there any company you can mention another vegan company, a bakery that you love?
Oh my God, I don't know.
Well, Danielle, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks for being on the podcast. Thanks for all the information. Have you been on a podcast before?
Your podcast?
Have you been on a podcast
Oh,
before?
I've done some podcasts, yeah.
Whatever. This is the best one.
Of course.
Anyway, I appreciate you being on here. Brian, thanks for being a guest in the kitchen.
So good to be here.
We covered everything, right? Pretty much.
I think so.
Is there one band or one song that inspired you to become vegan out of the punk scene or anything like that? Or was just everything combined?
I think it was a combination of love, support, a passion for music. I don't know. A shared common thoughts, basically.
Yeah. I love that. You said a lot of great things today. You're a very smart woman.
Thank you.
I have a new, not that I didn't know you were smart, but I have a new respect for your whole story and everything, your whole story. Because you told me last night at dinner, you have to tell me this on the podcast tomorrow. Just everything. It's fucking amazing. Be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
The animals appreciate you. The world appreciates you. Brian appreciates you. I appreciate you.
So much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Bye.
Bye.
Hey y'all, Liquid Death's been so kind to give me a promo code. So for your first purchase on liquiddeath.com, go to liquiddeath.com/OLOC and you get a free set of koozies with your first purchase of H2O, still or sparkling. If not, you can try it also at Whole Foods or 7-Eleven. Use the promo code OLOC for your first purchase of Liquid Death. Thank you, Liquid Death, for your support. Appreciate you so much. Murder your thirst. H2O saves lives, y'all.